motherhood, meetings, and milestones. Welcome to Two Babies in a Business, the podcast for moms building careers and raising kids at the same time. Let's dive in with your host, Christina Polarski.
I'm super pumped to just kick off another season of Two Babies in a Business. I think that sometimes maybe it's imposter syndrome. Maybe it's, when you're a mom or when you're whatever, I think your world can seem a bit small. And so, after another great season of Two Babies in a Business and just getting to catch up with some amazing women, but also meet some really cool powerhouse women as I kick off this next season, which will be my fourth season, which is crazy. I've really reached out to a cool roster of women this episode with my dear longtime friend, Wilma Shim. We met on our student government students union, the SU at University of Calgary. We were both championing some really cool projects there. And really became major encouragements of one another. So enjoy Wilma and Christina catching up and talking about what it is to be a mom in this crazy world. And, the one big piece here that I'm hoping will resonate is when you become a mom, that need to pivot. Both of us have a pretty interesting story around that pinpoint of pivoting a career because we needed to so that we could have better balance as moms. Enjoy, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Two Babies in a Business, the podcast where I talk to women that I get excited by, who are doing lots of things and are able to also add being a mom to the list. And today I am talking to someone I'm super excited to talk to because I haven't been able to in so long. But Wilma Shim is joining me, and we go, I don't know if we should say how far back, because then it's just aging us.
It's pretty far back. It's a long time, which is pretty awesome if you think about it.
It's true. We stood the test of time. I was thinking about I feel like we have many memories together. So to back up for everyone listening, Wilma and I were on the student government, the students union together in our undergrad days. And I remember this one day, and it's funny because I was kind of seeing Peter, who is now my husband at the time. And I had come over to hang out at your apartment that was down the street from the university for a bit before. I don't remember if it was like I had just come from his place or if I was going to his place after, but I just have this memory of like I was like, I don't know about this. I don't know. And you just be like, you look excited. You look happy. You do you go for it. And look, there you go. Now I'm married.
Yeah. No, I could sense there was something special after sort of the, the meeting and all of that. And here we are all these years later.
It's true. Okay, Wilma, tell us about yourself. Who are you other than the amazing Wilma who told me that I was dating a good guy?
Okay, so my name is Wilma. I'm a mom to three very active boys. I'm a lawyer, a volunteer, board member, and I'm hoping to become more of an academic as well, too, moving into, I think you may have heard, the sports law space. And so that had sort of is my new passion project area. And moving into that area more so. So that's me in a little bit of a nutshell.
Okay, here's the loaded question that will, I feel like, lead to a fruitful conversation. But, okay, you do a lot. I see you online all the time. How do you balance it all? Mom of three boys. Like, I have two boys, obviously, and at least I can, like, wrangle them with my, two arms, and I've got them. You've got, like, a third that would be out there unwranglable.
Right. It was a big decision. I think once they outnumber you, you're playing defense. the entire time. And so it is a different, it's busy for sure. Good scheduling, trying to, ensure that I think I can honestly say that every minute of my life is accounted for. So, which
I like
is
that.
good and bad sometimes, but yeah, I schedule as much as I can, and of course plan for the unexpected, because as we know, um, things can happen. You can get sick, or I don't know, all sorts of things can happen with three kids. Hard to predict, but try to plan as much as I can, and sort of see how it all falls out or falls through.
What are those like? So if you think about like what you've learned over the course of X amount of years being a mom, what are those things that you tell the new mom, or maybe you don't tell them? I don't know.
I do tell them that, things are going to change, right? Like you might sort of have a vision, or sort of what you see on maybe social media, what you think mom life is going to be. And then the harsh reality hits you and you're like, oh, this is not at all what it's like. I mean, something as simple as trying to get a family photo of all three smiling and looking at the
No.
camera. It's very, very difficult. And so I've sort of, started to embrace the crazy ones that we have as a true reflection of life as it is at that time.
I love that. What changed for you in terms of your career? Because before and after kids, you are extremely successful. So take that. You're a great inspiration, I know, to many women. So what changed for you from a career perspective, and how did you continue to drive forward in your career? Because you accomplished a lot, I think, post kids too.
Yeah. Well, thanks. That's very kind, Christina, to say that. But, just a little bit of background is we met in undergrad on the SU, and I went into law school right after. And so had a sort of about almost over a decade career with the government, and started off as a prosecutor, went to the civil litigation team, then family. And I actually thought that I was going to be there for life, right? I thought that I was a career crown. But it really changed with my third kid, just being able, the structure and the timing, as we know, things change with the expectations of children, and sort of that standard office hour time wasn't really going to work for me. And so I was looking for different options. And then, of course, the world changed in 2020, and, a lot of more online, how we're connecting right now, it's so different than perhaps how it would have been, before. And so that led to a total shift in my approach, looking at sort of priorities. I wanted to be a really engaged mom. I wanted to be present, but I also wanted to still keep my foot in sort of the work world, right? And so during mat leaves, I would volunteer. But I knew with work-wise, I wasn't going to be able to do the typical office structure. And so I was looking for different alternatives. Teaching sort of came about, as well as doing tribunal work, which allows me to write decisions on my own time, as opposed to doing it from a typical office hours. So that allowed for the balance, which my previous sort of career, which was great and very fulfilling, just wouldn't allow it for that moment in my life.
So obviously you were looking for the change. Walk me through that. It's not different than my story in terms of the 9 to 5, and it worked. And similar to you, when I was at CAP, I kind of thought, I remember one of my last reviews, and the boss saying to me, well, Janet, I feel like you know Janet, and I said, I think probably my next step would be your role, vice president of communications. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, and then, I think I'd probably stay in this association for the long term. This seems like life to me. And then, all of a sudden it just didn't work anymore. And so what, walk, cause it's a big move.
Yeah, well, totally. Yeah. It required a lot of pro-con lists. Sort of, is this the right move, because being more, risk adverse, I was like, this has been something that I have known since articling or summering, for goodness sakes. After first year law school, I summered, articled, and the path was there, right? But, what it really was the idea of not being fully engaged and present for my kids. And I wanted to be there for them. And I just knew the timing of being in the office and the expectations that you have to be in the office during those times. Those are the office hours. You must be there. Working from home was not a thing back then. And so, it just, I knew it wouldn't work for my family at that time. There's nothing to say that I wouldn't, go back to sort of a more standardized office hours, or sort of a position that required that. But for that moment, it was just, I knew I wouldn't be able to have the flexibility that I want, or that I need for my family.
Yeah, no, it's so true. Okay, so do you feel like you got the balance?
That's funny. Yeah, no, I think it's always shifting, right? I think, sometimes there are moments when the kids take more time, and then you're working either later, or you're trying to find different moments where you're trying to find your work. I just think of this past month, January, being very busy at the university. I was co-directing the trial advocacy course, and that was sort of every day and at night as well. But then now February, that course is done. And so, for example, like tomorrow, I'm going to go and volunteer and tie skates for the kids as they go onto the arena for their 45-minute skate, right? So it shifts. It's always, you can never totally predict what the week is going to look like. But if you can plan for when things are going to be really work heavy, or, volunteer or school or kid friendly, like it just kind of have to find the balance in some way. Yeah.
What advice would you give when you're in that moment? Because my January was similar. Like, I feel like it's like, God, I just got to get through this. But like, how do you remind yourself that this is, a storm, not the season, it's just a storm passing through? Or how do you stay positive in those situations?
So I do try to, have things to look forward to, sort of the little mini celebrations that one can be excited for, right? It's kind of hard to wake up the next day and be like, oh no, another day. You just have to say, oh, it's like another day, but then it's getting closer to something else that I'm excited to do. So that sort of keeps me, motivated, and sort of just balanced as well too, because there are going to be days that are quite difficult, sure, but other days will be great, and you just kind of have to, accept and manage and deal.
Yeah, no, it's so true. I feel like, I don't know, even today I joined our chat a little late, but it's one of those where like everything went a little bit sideways for me. Right? So it's like, okay, at lunchtime, I like turned everything off, and I just told everyone, I'm like, I just need a minute to like reset myself, recalibrate, and I'll move forward.
Right. Yeah.
Just recognizing that. I want to talk more about this like academic passion piece. Like, how did you maybe fall into that? Did you chase that? Like, walk me through that whole.
So
define my next passion.
It's as you know me, I think I've always enjoyed sport, being active, having to, I used to power lift that long time ago, coaching. So being, involved around in sport has been a big part of my life, and also involving my kids in the love of sport has been part of us as well too. But there was, a big sort of international track case that was happening in the world. And I ended up talking to the Dean of Kinesiology at the University of Calgary about the case. And I was so I was following it. I was so excited what's going to happen. And then by the end of the conversation, I just said, wouldn't it be great if there was a class at the faculty that talked about these issues? And she sort of said, send me like a proposal or something, put something together and submit it. And I did. And it's been 4 years now, teaching in East, and then now, and also in the law school, a sports law, more advanced version. And it's been sort of like, a passion of mine. And I've been so lucky to have the space to create that. And the university has also been quite supportive. So how nice little circle for us to have met at the university and still sort of be, involved there. Yeah.
What's that? What was that like when she said, "Okay, now send me a proposal for a," like, was that like, oh, I guess, like, was it easy? Was it like,
Um,
what is happening?
when I started creating I guess the pitch, I didn't really, because there's never been a course like that before at the kinesiology
Right.
faculty. So I was sort of like, if I was a student in kines, what would I want to learn about, recognizing that most of these students are not sort of seeing it from a legal lens, like they're kind of coming from it from a kinesiology background, right? And so that took sort of putting myself in their shoes to be like, okay, what would I want to learn more about? And so I've always tried to keep things relevant, talking about current events that are happening, so it keeps them engaged. And putting it all together was a little bit daunting because I'd never created a course before, right? Like
Yeah.
I just had no idea. But if you don't know, just try it and then do the research, and off we go. And I had some good support, and they believed in me, they trusted me. So I was grateful for the opportunity as well too.
Oh, that's so cool. What do the boys think about mom the professor?
Yeah, so we go to a lot of the sporting events on campus, and so when I can, I'll show them my classroom, and they just get excited. Like they just think it's sort of a fun. The university is a fun place to be, and so I think they look forward to joining me, and hopefully I hope that they will pursue some further education at some point, and we'll see what the future holds. You don't know, right? With 3 boys, I mean, they're so young. I think those little signs that say what I want to be when they grow up. I think one said Pokemon trainer, so I'm not really sure how. I don't know if there's a university degree that really.
Hey, by time there may be. Like,
right, you're right. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. So maybe he's so forward thinking.
The visionary.
There you go. Right.
It's funny. I had the kids in a university, one of those like university day camps for summer last year.
Those are hard to get into. Good job.
I know, God, it's like I always equate it to concert tickets, right? Like you like log in the morning and you're refreshing and you're I didn't even try this year. I didn't even attempt it. But I was on campus with them, and it was funny because one of them had it. It was close to Science Theater, so obviously a place that I hung around a lot as a Bachelor of Arts kid. Mm-hmm. And even just walking around and being like, this is where mom's locker was, or like we snuck into the big Science Theater, like the 300 whatever seats. And and I was like, mom had classes in here. And, they're looking and they're going, how on earth did you pay attention? And I'm like, that's a good question.
Mm-hmm. One day we should bring them to council chambers.
Right? Yeah. Oh, they would love that. It's funny. So both my boys have run for student government at their school. Mm-hmm. And have both served, I think they've served 2 terms like in their time. And it just always brings me back. Like, I'm like, I loved that. Like, I feel like, I don't know if they were born with that gene. Probably. Of being an overachiever or.
Yeah. I mean, we learned a lot, right, during that time. I mean, the elections and just different personalities and people. And, I mean, it's so nice that after all these years, we can still connect and still sort of like pick up like we haven't left, right, from before. So that's nice.
No, it's so true. I also love the fact that we're both boy moms. Mm-hmm. So tell me about that. Like what has being a boy mom changed, maybe inspired in you? Right. For me, it's like, okay, great. But like all of mom's stuff is like this here and everyone else go over there.
Yeah. The amount of energy, as you probably know, so they're 8, 7, and 4 right now. And so it is, it's strange when it's quiet. And if it's quiet, that means they're not home. So that it's sort of a thing that, I don't know where they get that energy from. And it's pretty, yeah, it's a lot. So I try to keep them busy. And so keeping them into different activities, we do a lot of things, or we try to do a lot of things as a family, going to different sporting events or participating in things and just keeping them active. And that sort of is the goal with them. I mean, they can only sit and, color or read or write for so long before they're like bored. I need to physically do something, right? And so I've noticed that they really need to get their bodies moving a lot. And with three boys at a different age, but also close, you get like, they love each other, but man, do they fight. They fight a lot. And so it's I've learned a lot of my mediation skills.
Oh, I like this.
Negotiation, all those sorts of patience and all that stuff. It's amazing what you can kind of use from your work in your home life, or also from home life into work as well too. So they're teaching me new things, and I'm changed too, right? Like I think becoming a mom has really changed me, but I hope for the better. I'm at least a different person now than I was before.
What do you think the biggest, like for you, like looking back at yourself, like what would pre-mom Wilma say about current Wilma?
Right. I don't think I'd be quite surprised at the path that I sort of ended up in, having, the three kids, sort of leaving the typical career that I thought that I was going to stay for life. And so, before, I think you know me very well, I'm still quite structured, and I try to, implement and introduce structure into my life, but I am more flexible now. Whereas before, I think, be like this, it has to be this way. Whereas there are other ways to get to that endpoint. And I've really learned that with having three boys.
Yeah, it is that flexibility. Because I feel like we were very much the same, right? Color-coded agenda. Yes. This is what's happening at this point in time. I think that for me too, it's been that almost that like, okay, you've made the plan, but not being overly ambitious with the plan. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to slot in all of these things at this time. I remember like a vacation we took a few years back, and I feel like Peter and I are both like, get it all in. And, you get halfway through the day and everyone's miserable because you're running around and you're doing too much and you're trying to pack the schedule. Yeah. So I feel like for me, it's been that like, okay, structure, but calm down a bit. A-type Christina, just calm down.
Yeah, it's been a learning experience, right? Like it is hard because that's how we are like wired, right? Yeah. Like, sort of. So what I try to do is I'm like, okay, well, if we have this one activity, let's say for the day planned, I'll give myself like a buffer time together because I'm sure something is going to happen. And then at the end of the day, let's say 2 out of the 3 enjoyed it. I'll call that a win. Because sometimes, you can't please all 3 with an activity, like recognizing that they are different and their ages are a little bit different. And so, yeah, just you have to take the mini wins when you can.
That's true. Can you give us like an insight? What's the inside tips from a negotiation live from a former Crown?
Yeah, right. So I always want to ensure that I hear the stories from every party because, sometimes, it's important that they at least feel heard, that you can acknowledge, feelings and sort of why they're reacting that way. And then, sometimes it's funny because we have the 3, perhaps the third child will say, oh no, that's not what happened. And then they will be the one that will, add credibility to one of the kids. It's quite funny actually, when you sort of see the true battles that happen. But really, I think, listening to them is important, just like it would be, with communications and with work and everything, like ensuring that you have the full or as much of the story that you can before drawing sort of any conclusions, right? And so I think, the patience to be able to fully get the information out is something that is important in a kid's, mediation issue as well as work, right, too. So.
No, it's so true. Because I'm such a driver and like I just wanted, I think you're the same, right? Solution oriented, let's get to the end. And lately, especially, I feel like, I don't know what it is about like the development of an 8-year-old boy, but they are going through a lot of emotions. Yeah. And so I've really tried to, you have to say it differently to an 8-year-old, but I've tried to, like, are we solution oriented about this right now? Or we're just like in the feeling stage? Cause like, I can feel like the best of them. Like, let's feel, let's do all the feelings. But my kids will remind me often, especially after school, right? If something happened at school and they're telling you a big story, and then all of a sudden I get to solutions. Well, you could talk, you could do this. And I'm like, Mom, I'm just trying to tell you about what happened. And I'm like, okay, sorry.
Yeah, there's always that, the inclination to want to step in. I've come, to help them, but I think there is something to be said about letting them, grow and also learn, certain things that can happen in life, because life is not always so smooth, right? So they can at least, we can prepare them in a safe environment, okay? But like, about different things that can happen to them.
It's true. Yeah. And those like, again, those moments where it feels like their whole world, but oh man.
Yeah.
Tomorrow you might not even remember.
Redirect. That's all about change them into a different focus point. That sort of is good.
Yeah. Yeah. I always say change the channel.
Okay. Yeah. That's good.
How can we like change the, okay, over, when they're really little, it's different. Like, okay, coloring's not working anymore. Here's the blocks, right? Like change the channel. Whereas when they're older, it gets harder, but there is something powerful at redirecting that. Okay, what's something positive that happened today? Oh, I had the worst day ever, Mom. And I'm like, okay, well, like, let's like figure out 3 things that were okay. Even if one of them is like, and now I'm in the car and I'm going home.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
It's wild. Always learning.
Yep. I think, every day is a new adventure. You never know what can happen. And so we can plan as much as we want, but be prepared, that be flexible, right? And don't be too hard on yourself either. Like, we try our best, I think. So.
Okay, what makes you feel most, I don't want to say the word adult, but like mom-like? What is something that you have to do that like makes you like, I am Wilma the mom? Like, okay. For me, it's like whenever I have to sign a permission slip, right. I feel like it's this like adult moment of like, I'm consenting for like a small human to be able to do something. Right. And it's like, are you sure you want my permission? Do you want someone else's?
So I guess, when I prepare their backpacks and all, their lunches and all that sort of stuff. And so we have the school has a system where you have to sign the agenda in order to ensure that you read what the expectation is for that afternoon or that evening and for the next day. So that sort of is, because they get a sticker, right? If you've signed it, it's not even them, you have to sign it. So I guess that, that's authority, very similar to sort of giving permission, right? It's also nice when you do the field trips or you go to the school and volunteer, is that you do, it's at this point in time, 8, 7, and 4, you're still a superstar when you go to their school. There is going to be a time where they do not want you there. And so I'm going to appreciate like the how excited they are that I'm going to be tying skates and, tomorrow, for example. And it's cute. Like my eldest is like, are you going to come skate? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be there. And my middle's like, I don't want you to skate. There's like soccer balls and these kids are really aggressive and I want you to be safe. And so they're different, right? But we'll see. So I might go on the ice with the older and then the middle child, but apparently there's danger and I'll be aware. But it's right. It's quite sweet, like to see sort of them, care in that way. And then you kind of feel like you're like, okay, that's nice as a mom.
That's true. I do. I feel like nothing beats the, like when you have to sneak into school to drop off whatever it is, like forgotten snow pants or something. And then like all the kids are like, like, Jacob, it's your mom. Like, hi, Jacob's mom. And you're like, hey, like, it's just this, like, I don't know. It's like celebrity status.
Exactly. There you go. It's nice. It is nice to have that. Yeah. The little moments. Enjoy them, right? I mean, they're fleeting. You see it really quickly and people, the older generation is like, oh, it happens so fast. And I'm like, I can now actually see it, especially now. Like they're growing up quickly. Things are changing. And so it's a busy time.
Totally. Okay, my one maybe loaded question, maybe isn't, is, you know, is pop culture or celebrity or whatever we want to call it, do we think they're finally getting it right? Are they depicting, we've got the Barbie movie, we've got, you know, the Taylor Swifts and the Beyoncés and the, like, these super mega star women that seem to be balancing many things in their life.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts, especially, you're an academic
No,
now, so
I'm not trying to, not officially, right? Still just a sessional instructor. There's not, you can't call me an academic, but well, I think things are changing. But I also think right now, like, even, I mentioned at the beginning about how the social media trying to get that one perfect photo when you have like 100 that aren't exactly a true representation of that one picture. It's not as if they just stood there and smiled and it was perfect, right? And so, how I think society is sort of representing women, it's changing. I mean, we're seeing more of our qualities being represented, but I think there can always be more. There can always be more female leaders, more people involved in different spaces where still there's that tradition or that perception that it is still a male-oriented space. And so I think there is a place for women to still have their voice and push forward even more. So while things are better, I think there can be more done.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like even today I was, I don't know, typical business owner stuff where you like get in like the middle of something, and I was having a little pity party to myself, and I went, well, nobody's asked me how I am today. Nobody, right? Like it's those moments of hey, we're human too. And I think that, I don't know, like sometimes I feel like, am I perpetuating this stereotype of the mom who can balance it all and do all these things? Because it's like, I'm doing the best I can, but right, I don't know, I'm like, maybe I just need to show it all online, be one of those people that like cry online sometimes and really freak people out.
Yeah, there are people that are willing to really open up, but I think, what, honestly, I think you're doing a great job. Oh my goodness, Christina.
Oh,
you're so funny. But like, the way that I see things is having passion for what you do, and then also sort of prioritizing what's important to you, because there's not enough time in the day, right? I mean, even just getting the time for us to meet is hard to do, right? Like it's really hard to coordinate schedules, right? So I mean, I think just not being too hard on yourself, but focusing on things that you have passion for, and prioritizing things that need to be done is sort of the way to how I approach things anyway.
I love it. I think that's the only thing you can do, right? Prioritize what you have to, and I always am horrified at these people that can like come back from vacation and they just like delete all of the emails. Have you heard about these people?
Like, it must not be that important. If it is, they'll send another one. I'm like, I don't know if that's the right approach, but yeah.
But it's kind of that mentality of, if prioritize what you need to, and if the other stuff it'll come up, it'll, float to the top, I guess. Who knows?
I don't know.
Keep me posted if it does.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway.
Nice. Well, Wilma, thank you. Thanks for sharing your story and for, just helping us with tips on how to negotiate as a professional with our children.
It's so nice to see you, Christina. Like, really.
1, 2, 3. She's a justice warrior that fights for the right, tough but fair. She shines so bright. She's got no time for excuses. No way, drives us to greatness every day. From the debate stage to the track she ran, now she's leading us with a master plan. She's organized, cool under fire, lighting up the room with her unshakable fire. Oh, Christina, you're our cheerleader, lifting us desire. You're the team believer, strong as steel, but with a heart so kind. We're lucky to have you, you're one of a kind.